Guys, if you haven't heard already, if you're not on Twitter, if you're not looking at the name of this podcast, it's big news for us. We got a sponsor. And many have tried, many have failed. There's been some talks of sponsors. There's been some murmurings, but this one seems to be a perfect fit for our podcast. And shouts out to the guys at Graham Company. The reason we wanted to work with them and they wanted to work with us is because they're fans of college football, college basketball, just like us. What it is, it's a hemp product, Delta 8. And you know what? I'm not an expert on all this stuff, but you can look more into it at thegrahamcompany.com, or that's thegrahamco.com. The products are grown and made in Florida. You don't need a medical card. The shipping, just like, all of that dirty, sexy stuff, the hemp stuff, it's also discreet and quick. You got to be 21 to order, and they gave us our own code, which is pretty cool. They asked me what I wanted to do for the code. I was like, I don't think you should put beers on heads as a code for a hemp product. So let's just go Hogs 25. So that's what it is. So if you use the code Hogs 25, you'll get 25% off your first order. And not just your first order, bro. I'm talking every single order. So if you like it, keep on using Hogs 25. What do they got? They got gummies, phenomenal tasting gummies. We got a care package. I see JJ's in here now. He got his care package. I think he's a big fan of the watermelon and a lot of good flavors. I like the Wake and Bake coffee. It's phenomenal. It's what you need in the morning and gets you going. And just so many good stuff. You got to go check it out, thegrahamcompany.com, and use code HOGS25 for 25% off. Not only your first order, but every order. Now let's get to the show.
Welcome to the Beers on Heads podcast.
Boys and girls, welcome to the Sweet 16 edition of the Beers on Heads podcast. After a successful evening on the Twitter and a successful weekend for the Hogs, Pete, what did you?
That was a great intro.
What did you think of the big weekend for the Hogs? Back-to-back Sweet 16s, baby.
God, that's insane to hear coming out of somebody's mouth. Like, our generation of Hog fans I feel like we're already begrudgingly old at like our age, which I'm not going to mention, but there's kids that are younger than us out there bitching on Hog Twitter all the time about how they've never won anything. Like, we're right at the age where we literally never experienced this level of success. So to be two straight Sweet 16s, I can't even say it because it's so unfamiliar. Like, that's pretty awesome. The way that we got there, the path, man, it is easy to be a Razorback fan and sit here and go like, man, I'm not feeling very comfortable about how we got there. But I think the important thing is that we got there. I think Vermont was a good basketball team, and that was one that could have easily swung their way. Just the way they shoot the ball, they got hot at times. The ref show, I don't want to get too much into it, but there were some calls that went their way that I think could have swung the game. So the fact that you survived that first round, that's important. Not everybody did. And then the second game, offensively, it was terrible, but defensively, that was hella encouraging. And that was one of the greatest defensive games I've ever seen. Terrible to watch. But the way Muskane's playing.
You thought that was defensive driven? I thought it was just poor offense driven.
No, I think it was great defense for us.
I also am just an eternal pessimist.
I mean, how many points did Allen score?
Like 12, I don't know.
See, he scored what, like 26 against
37.
37 against UConn. So you game plan for him. I think it was
that 7 wasn't the final scoring for Allen there.
No, I'm not sure. I just threw out 12.
I think he had some free throws after that.
I'm just saying, if Muskie's going to game plan, it had 2 days. You take the dude completely out of the game. I thought it was a great defensive performance.
No, he had 12. I wasn't making that up, actually. That was rooted in truth.
Oh, well, good job. So, moral of the story is, yes, it could have been prettier, but I'm not going to sit here and complain about it to be in 2 straight Sweet 16s.
I did tell everyone this is going to be a McCants game, and it was 16-12.
Pat yourself back, buddy.
Yeah, Pat's for me.
Okay, what do you think, JJ?
I hated it. I hated every second of it.
So you're one of those people that's already entitled.
I wouldn't say I'm entitled. If you don't have to be entitled to call a spade, like, I don't think this team is fantastic. I've been on that bandwagon since December, really. Am I happy that we're in the Sweet 16? Absolutely. Like, why wouldn't you be? But I think you can separate being very happy where we are and also being able to, like, say, hey, we're very fortunate to be where we are. I don't think it's mutually exclusive to pat yourself on the back and say, hey, we're here, and also be like, wow, we got fucking lucky, like, to be here. And I've kind of, at this point, after 1 year of doing this, I would say we had a fortunate run last year. I mean, Texas Tech was a good opponent, but I think we're very fortunate to have Oral Roberts in the Sweet 16. And at this point, it's getting lucky, getting New Mexico State to go to the Sweet 16.
Okay, so here's my problem, JJ. It's the way you're saying it. It's like,
why?
You can, you're so monotone about it.
I've done nothing. My tone shouldn't matter at all. It's my words.
Yes, that's the problem with it, because I said it and it sounded nice. But we said the same exact thing. Your tone was just like, it was shitty, really, honestly.
Oh, I did also add that I don't think this team's fantastic, which is also truth. This team is not fantastic.
I don't think fantastic either, but I think Must have done a fantastic coaching job. We can get to that later.
Yeah, you get no arguments from me, but all of a sudden it's because how I say it. Is that why I'm getting heat on Twitter all the time?
Yes, it is.
I literally, in my original tweet, said, is Muss elite? Yes. Has he been very fortunate? Yes. Like, if you can't grasp both those things.
That statement is like, that's 2 separate tweets. That's not the same tweet.
No, it's not. That's the same tweet. My point being, he has been fortunate. Now, to cover myself from getting hate, I say, yes, he is an elite coach, and he did beat these teams in the first place. But, yes, he did face a weaker schedule than anyone else the past 2 years to make back-to-back Sweet 16s.
Okay, was Mike Anderson putting us in this situation as a 4 seed?
No,
I mean, we're not in this situation if we're not a 4 seed. Okay. Hey.
Get no argument for me.
We earned that 4 seed and we earned that 3 seed last year. That's why we played those shitty teams.
As you look at other 2 and 3 seeds, even look at Baylor this year. Drawing UNC in the second round. That's not fortunate. I just got off the Twitter space. I'm on record saying that if we played UConn in the round of 32 and we played the way that we played against New Mexico State, we would have lost. I agree with that. But, like, even Baylor last year, they played Wisco round 2 as a 1 seed. And Wisco, in Ken Palm's eyes, was 2 spots better than Texas Tech.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Just let's work on the tone. Do you not understand why people? Okay, well, I can't change you. You're an adult.
Okay, I mean, I've got to jump in here for a second, and I've just got to add in because, look, I mean, are we in the same situation as Providence? No, I think we're a better overall team than Providence is because what is it that Ken Palm continues to say about Providence? They're the luckiest team in college basketball, but let's not forget the fact that in any championship, in any sport that you win, luck plays a factor, and you're not going to win a championship without luck. You're not going to make a Sweet 16 or Elite 8 or whatever without some form of luck. So,
not in this tournament.
If we're lucky, then I guess if Lady Luck wants to keep smiling on us, keep smiling, baby.
You can absolutely get to a Sweet 16 without luck. What?
And you can be ecstatic about being lucky too.
I didn't say that you couldn't make a Sweet 16 without luck. I said that you can make a Sweet 16 with luck. You can also make an Elite 8 with luck. You can also make a Final Four with luck, and you can also win the championship with luck.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Arkansas has had a lot of luck.
We've had a ton of luck. So why are you guys
tone.
like angel babies, and why am I the devil?
Oh
You're
no!
muted
So
now, somehow.
it's the tone. That's what it is.
Because
I completely
I
agree with
don't
you.
show. I should keep my emotions up my sleeve.
Yeah, you kind of sound like you kind of sound like a dick when you say it. You're like, well, it sounds like you're not happy, and we're fans of the team.
Do
And
you
as a
really
fellow fan,
want to get into a psych evaluation here? You know where this really stems from, Pete? Do you want to know where the origin story is?
You tell me.
Do you want to know what the origin story is? It's fucking baseball a year ago. I have not been the same
Still
person
down.
since.
Okay, yes, I do want to hear that. That actually sounds very important.
It's at
That's
least
the root
an
of my
explanation.
general unhappiness.
Yes, but you are like that. I've noticed. I mean, throughout the years, it's hard for you to get excited about football season when football season's coming up because of the sour taste in your mouth from baseball. I say that's okay. I'm glad we got to it. And I'm just saying, maybe I don't care what you do, but maybe if you're worried about the way people perceive you, then
I'm not. I tweeted that in the first place. Of course, I'm not that worried.
So before
we were 5 minutes away from tip off to go to the Sweet 16, and that's the tweet I choose. Obviously, I wasn't too worried.
Yeah, that was. Yeah, you okay? I know exactly where you're coming from, JJ. I was hoping that it's all right, man. It's not your fault that I'm feeling this way. I'm happy, and I don't like people bumming my party, but I understand where
I'm
you're
not bumming your party, man.
You're not. It's fine now. I'm glad we talked it out. That's what this is for. This is what this platform is clearly for. All right, before we get into the Gonzaga matchup, do you want to talk about the rest of the field and how you did gambling?
Pretty damn good. My Final Four is still intact, which you always like going into the Sweet 16. Kansas was my national champ. Has looked pretty formidable. Arizona had a scare last night. Purdue has looked really solid. They're in the championship against Kansas in my bracket. And who's my other one? Arizona, Kansas, Purdue, and Duke. Quite the scare against Michigan State, but I thought Michigan State looked really fucking good. So I'm not too worried about that.
State.
Yeah, that was a fun game to watch. That lived up to the billing.
Michigan State's been good all year too.
Yeah, I mean, the Big Ten has proven to be maybe a little overrated, but they held their own for a while, and they have all the talent. They just, need a little.
They have the makeup of like a good tournament.
So much size. I wasn't lying to you guys. They have so much fucking size. But yeah, I think I have Duke going to the Final Four over Gonzaga. But yeah, gambling wise, I posted all my picks. I think I went like 6 or 7 games over 500, which I mean that's a very positive ROI there.
And it's been a really weird tournament. I mean, it always is. To do that in this tournament's pretty impressive because most people that I know and most gambling guys I follow their picks, like they're down. So to be positive right now is pretty impressive. And you know what helps? It's just because you handicap every game.
Yeah, it helps you get into a rhythm, like having like a pick on every game, because that means you pay attention to a lot of different styles, and you start noticing trends in the tournament.
You pick your game of the.
Yeah, like on Saturday, I didn't get to post it because it was live, but the first game, the Baylor game, the North Carolina Baylor game in Fort Worth, the officiating was, I mean, so touchy, and you saw that. And so what do? You go to the second game and you just bet the over because you know what those officials are doing, and the rims were very kind too. So, as far as the first 2 rounds, lived up to billing.
The big surprise is obviously St. Peter's and Iowa State.
Yeah.
I guess Miami, but a lot of people were saying that they knew Miami was legit. I didn't have any knowledge of Miami being legit.
We kind of grazed over that game in our preview because I just didn't cap it because I ran out of time before the podcast. But that was a game that I was just so torn on the entire week. USC versus Miami. I didn't know if they could match up with Mobley, and obviously they did. And that whole region was just real fuckery going on. LSU coached by Nickelberry. That was pretty neat. They just completely shit the bed against Iowa State. But then Iowa State comes back, and I mean, Iowa State, they have gotten a little bit more fortunate than we think because they play two incredibly offensive challenged teams and they play a great defense. So, like, obviously you're going to have a little bit of an advantage there. In hindsight, at the time, I didn't think that they would have enough offense either to mask that. But shit, they did it. That region 2 is also the Auburn region, right?
Yep. Auburn just lost to Miami.
Yeah, duh.
I got one that I'm proud of, and hey, Bill, welcome back, Steve. We lost him for a second. He's in San Francisco.
We had a little, as you can tell, I'm up here in the Beers on Heads blimp above San Francisco. We had a little lightning storm, and things went a little haywire. So sorry about that. I
was going to say that the team that I'm not proud of. It's stupid. I mean, I think it was obvious if you watched them play was UNC. I picked them to beat Baylor, but they're definitely a team that can make a run. Just when you get guards that are that talented, and then a guy like Brady Manick that's like a glue guy, a senior.
Baycott.
Yeah.
Fucking Baycott gets every board. What did I say against
you tweeted something out, but I couldn't tell if you were talking about one of your boycott. I really couldn't tell.
No, it was Baycott. But I think I said something on the podcast. I was like, this guy's may go for 2020 against who they play in the 8-9 game. Not Seton. Marquette. Yeah. I was like, he may go for 2020, and he got 20 points, but they pulled him with like 8 minutes left. He had 13 rebounds. I mean, they
got the makeup of an NCAA. So who are they playing? Who's their matchup?
UCLA.
Yeah, that one's going to be tough to. I have no idea where to go with this UCLA team. I cannot tell if they're good or not.
I've been on their overvalued train all year, but UNC's hot, man. I don't think if UCLA lost, I don't think it'd be on UCLA. I think it'd just be they just caught UNC at the very, very, very wrong time.
So it's clearly between Arizona and Kansas on the other side of the bracket at this point, right? You'd have to agree.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. Those two, their paths are like incredible at this point to get to the Final Four. Kansas is in particular, and the other one that's ridiculously easy now is Purdue's. But Kansas, they got ahead of them. They got Iowa State, and then they got – wait, no, that's not right at all.
No, so I looked at the odds right now. It's plus like 150 for them to make the Final Four. Minus 150.
That makes sense because they have Providence, and then they have the winner of Iowa State, Miami, and then it's Final Four time. Yeah, that's so ridiculous.
That's crazy, man.
And then Purdue's got St. Peter's and then UCLA and North Carolina. Like I would take that in a heartbeat to get to the Final Four too.
I just wouldn't want to face either UCLA or UNC in an Elite Eight, but
the pickings are slim. Like Kansas,
right? Of course,
made the jackpot.
Yeah, but I think we have the most intriguing region left, and just because it's all talk, you got 1, 2, 3, 4 in there. It's going to be tough.
Yeah.
So let's just get
to. Going to take a lot of luck.
Damn you! I'm frozen right now. Can you all hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right.
Unfortunately,
I do want to get to Gonzaga, and I put the question of the day out there on the Graham Company, our sponsor. I put the question of the day out there on Twitter about how is Arkansas going to be able to guard 6'10" Drew Timme and 7'1" Chet Holmgren.
Sounds right. Maybe 7 foot even.
Yeah, that's the most intriguing matchup to me. I think offensively, Arkansas is going to be all right. They're going to get it going again. Defensively, that's such a hard task, especially a guy like Timme who's been there before and done it. He rarely makes mistakes. You're going to have to play a perfect game defensively, and their guards can shoot the lights out if they're on. So I mean, it's such a tough matchup. So I was thinking you either go with Jalen Williams on Chet Holmgren, which is the most obvious, but then you start to think with Jalen Williams at his size and his athleticism, he's the perfect guy to guard Drew Timme. So that it's almost too hard not to make that your matchup if you're Muss. But what do you do with Chet Holmgren?
Yeah, I think he can get into Timmy's head easier because I think Holmgren's just kind of like a dumb puppy and like doesn't know any better. I think
he's going to do what he's going to do.
Yeah, if Chet gets a charge, he's just going to like play dumb and be like, oh shit, damn, okay. I think if you get Timmy for 1 or 2 charges, he's going to get in his head. The guy, like, he wears his emotions on his sleeve too much, to the point where a guy like Jalen, like I said, draw 2 charges and the guy's going to be beside himself. The
officiating is going to be, I hate to say, it's going to be huge. It's going to be so huge in this game.
Yeah, the way they've been calling it, though, I kind of feel like it favors Jalen in that matchup.
Maybe, but also, I mean, you're going to get a lot of fouls from Arkansas. I mean, and it's going to be by design, I feel like. Like, don't let Timmy and Chet get easy buckets. So in my head, I'm thinking play Kamani some, not Connor. I know that's dumb. Don't play Connor. I think you play Kamani a little bit. I just think you see what happens if he's doing well defensively. I do know it takes you out of your rhythm on offense, not having 4 guards out there. I mean, that's like kind of our thing. But I don't know, man.
I think this is a game where you let the offense you've got to force it defensively. It's got to start there, and you let the offense get into. You don't start forcing shit on offense until you absolutely have to, because it all starts on defense. And I think it's going to take a platoon of Tony swarming whatever big man you leave off and playing Kamani some. And, you might see a little bit of Connor in there.
No, I doubt it.
I doubt it too, but you might. I mean, look, you've got to play to what their strengths are offensively to me, and let the offense come naturally.
I agree, but I also I think the most important thing is getting Timmy off his game. I like what JJ said, because he is such an emotional player. Like, in March, that matters a shit ton. And to your point about Connor Vanover, you do have to play their strength. And if I just looked at my roster and said, let me throw this 7-3 guy and this 7-1 guy, like, that makes so much sense. But we've seen Connor play. Like, we can't afford those kind of mistakes in a game of this caliber. And Muss has shown he doesn't trust him. I mean, he's not going to play him against Gonzaga if he wasn't going to play him against Vermont, where he had a matchup with some dude that's 6'8",
No, I don't disagree with you. I just my point, and so when I said don't be surprised if you see Connor, what I was saying is, I mean, it would be in very, very limited minutes, maybe a 5-minute, like at the under 12 timeout. Maybe you've got a situation where you've got Jalen with the foul and Kamani with 2 fouls, and you might see a little 5-minute action from a Vanover, because going platoon or going Tony doesn't work. And so just throw somebody out there for 5 minutes to give some guys some breather minutes. I mean, I wasn't saying he was going to play extended minutes.
Oh, I know. I want to get – this is some head game stuff too, and I like JJ's thoughts on this, because we just had a discussion on our Twitter space. So I think a fun head game that Muss used to play is just having Connor Vanover win the tip every time. I mean, why not just throw him out there, have him win the tip, and then have Chet be like, oh, shit, I haven't seen a dude this tall in forever. Just kind of mess with his head a little bit, then pull Connor out. Don't play him again, but something like that. And then speaking of head games, I just learned this on the Twitter space, but apparently Snead knows more about it. Muss tweeted out his game plan like he always does, but then there was some, leaks in there.
Muss tweeted out pictures from practice, and he had the entire scouting report. Well, not the entire. He had so you could easily see 2 players for Gonzaga. One of them was Hickman, and I can't remember the other guy. But key points, some of which were, pressure in the backcourt. For Hickman, number 11 for Gonzaga, he called him an undisciplined defensive player. But the thing that was interesting about that too is, so it was a series of 3 or 4 pictures. He was working a lot with Connor, and that would give you the idea that if they're just looking at matchups and sizes, maybe it is a little bit of a head game tweet. I don't know. We'll see.
If anybody's going to do it, it's Muss. That's what and I think we actually convinced JJ just a little bit that tweet was put out there to play head games. He was not about that. That's the type of guy Muss is, and he does always put out the game plan. Like, how is that different than saying, yeah, we're going to double the shit out of Darius Days, Like, how is that different? So I guess because it's insulting.
I guess what I will say in fairness to basketball game planning is a little bit different than football. Number one, just in general. Number two, like the things that Muss was putting up were not like on those game plans for those certain players was not anything that was necessarily like another example was I think it was Hickman again. He does his best offensive work when he drives right. Like it's not anything that was going to necessarily like they're not going to be able to take anything away, but definitely head game situation. Like,
I think that's up for debate, but in reality, it doesn't matter.
I mean, here's the other thing is that's not typical scouting report on the whiteboard talk. Like, I don't think they're saying those things like often, if at all. In that
he's all in. JJ's all in now.
It is a mind game. It's exactly what it is. With this staff that is so meticulous with every social media post that they make, yeah, it was a head game. It's gonna get in his head that he's undisciplined as a defender, and it's gonna make him play really conservative, or it's gonna make him angry and make him even more aggressive.
Let's go. Hey, genius.
Yeah.
Play chess, everyone else play checkers. All right, the line's 8.5. The over-under is 154. Everyone here immediately when I heard it, under.
Yeah, right? I think it's 153.5, something like that.
Under. I mean, more importantly, I want Arkansas to win. I mean, this
is not an 80 or this is not like a 77 to 75 game. Like
if Arkansas's game plan works out the way it should, then hopefully if it's going over, Gonzaga's winning this game. I feel like.
Yeah, we got to muck it up.
Yeah, we got to muck it up. What do you see happening? I can't take Arkansas. My heart wants to. It's just, this is the number 1 overall seed. And it's been 7 years. It feels like it's Gonzaga's year every time they're here, and they don't feel like they're not a team that loses in the Sweet 16. Even if they don't, they choke. When they choke in the championship or the Final Four. So it's hard to say that Arkansas is going to pull it out. But 8.5 points is way too many points. I'd take Arkansas to cover.
This just feels like a game that we hang around for like 35 minutes, and then it's like a 3-point game, and then one mistake, and then it's just curtains, and it's just free throws from then on out.
Yeah, and if you're an Arkansas fan, you got to be realistic. Like,
yeah, that's just kind of how I see that happening. I think we can keep it close. I think ultimately it's going to come down to one dumb mistake, which we have been prone to do throughout the year, and that's just going to turn into a free throw battle toward the end. And those scenarios, you need players that can make threes on command. And we have like one guy that I would feel okay doing that with.
It's not on command. So
it's definitely not on command.
I want to circle to the idea that Muss is, what was it that I tweeted out? 48 and 11, 49 and 11, whatever the hell it is, with 4+ days of rest, which is obviously a good situation for us because
it bodes well for us, for sure.
Well, it means that Muss knows how to game plan, and he's not a bad coach, which I think we all obviously already knew. But the thing that was interesting to me about that, you dig more into those numbers. Muss is 20-3 at Arkansas with 4+ days of rest. However, Muss is 5-3 this year with this team with 3+ days of rest. Those losses were to Hofstra, Vanderbilt, and I can't remember the third one off the top of my head.
Okay, I see where you're going, but
they look. No, so I was about to get into that. They all three of the losses were early mid-January losses.
Pre buy-in. Some would say.
He's
walked about 6 miles one way.
Sorry, I'm watching the TVI as well.
I don't know that we're licensed to give that audio, so Justin, you might
mute
just have to put a little bleep.
Was that coming through my AirPods?
Yeah.
That's disrespectful. I'm all ears, buddy.
We got to clip that right there.
At any rate, I'll just leave it with this. Definitely take the 8.5. Take the under, because Muss is going to game plan the shit out of them, and it's if we lose the game, which is the most probable outcome, it's not going to be like we get the shit beat out of us.
I like that Muss has that background as an NBA coach who is game planned against incredible like twin tower duos. He's game playing against LeBron James, Kobe Bryant. Like, nothing's going to be too big for him to game plan for. And I also like that he has game plan with multiple different kinds of teams. He's game playing with Adriel Bailey as the center. I mentioned that earlier. And with Nevada, like mid-majors, there's a lot of coaching that goes into winnings. That's why, like, you see guys like Porter Mosier have so much success with such little talent. Like those are good coaches if they're winning at mid-majors at such a high level. So I mean, the coaching matchup, I think, is like it's even, whatever.
Yeah,
but it's just the matchups are almost too grand to overcome.
Mark Few was like that was a mid-major when he took over. Like, he built that from a mid-major.
I know, yeah. That's what I'm saying. It's basically a wash in coaching, but in terms of talent, obviously, this was never the team. This was never the team that was supposed to make the run, this Arkansas team. So I think if we look back and we lose, then you're going to say, like, hey, you're still – Arkansas fans grasp on this stuff that we can talk shit about for years to come. We're the only team to advance to 2 straight Sweet 16s this time. Like, that's awesome. It's a great building block, but this was never the team. And if they do win, that's what I want to get into next. Looking ahead to other matchups, like, the road is brutal. I mean, Duke is by far like the best 3 seed we've seen in forever. Are they a 3 or a 2?
2.
I mean, they're the best 2 seed. They should be the number 2 overall seed behind Gonzaga. So you get, I mean, not based on their resume. I'm saying in terms of talent. And then you got Coach K's last year going into it. Like, that storyline is hard to beat, man. It's just
NCAA is not going to let them go quietly into the night.
No,
I'm
dude.
gonna make an argument that Muss plays his players so many freaking minutes that I'd almost rather see us in a game against Duke in the Elite Eight where we would have to go platoon just to get some guys who didn't get their legs like fucking fried against Gonzaga, as opposed to a nitty gritty grinded out type of game against Tech.
I can just see Tech right now getting into foul trouble late because the refs are just going to call everything because it's Duke. And Tech plays good defense. So when you play good defense against Duke late, they're going to call fouls.
I don't want to play Tech again. I feel like we had their number last year, but this is a completely different team. You don't want to play Tech.
I don't like this. I really don't like this Tech team that much.
Why? Because they were so reliant on shooting.
Yeah,
they don't score as much, but they're still really good on defense.
I mean, they're number 1 on KenPom. Yeah. They have the best defense metrically, but I don't know, man.
If Arkansas doesn't win, I think it'd be awesome if Tech went ahead and dumped Chris Beard and they went on to win the whole damn thing. There's a lot of good
if nothing else
this year.
Anything that makes Chris Beard look like a fucking doo-doo head, I'm in for.
Dude, so many storylines. Like Michigan, Juwan Howard coming back. I called that. Remember, I said, I think that this is good for Michigan, and they've shown that, like, the reason that they're playing with absolute like Jawan Howard's type of basketball. And who remember Aiden Hutchinson?
Hit you in the mouth?
Yeah, 100%. I forgot about Aiden Hutchinson. I've watched Michigan play several times this year. He's kind of been a bum. He's getting like John Fulkerson this year for Tennessee, but the beast has awoken, and they're dangerous as hell. That's a good storyline. Coach K's last year, obviously, like, damn, like how. That's
TJ Olsenberger at Iowa State. That's incredible what he's done.
Yeah.
They were a 2-win team last year in the Big 12, which I think made them 2 wins overall because I think they only played Big 12. That sounds sort of right. But if not, it was 2 wins in Big 12 total.
Gonzaga,
year.
7 years of Sweet 16s, right? The 7 straight.
Like that.
I mean, yeah. Gonzaga is a great storyline. Arkansas, what do we
say? The same thing about Matt Painter at Purdue. If Matt Painter doesn't he was on the hot seat because he has. I have said since November, I think Purdue is the most talented team in the country. He needs to make this
Purdue. Last time I said I was drunk, but I said Jaden Ivey is Ja Morant. I watched him play again. He's incredible.
So good.
Purdue's biggest issue, and I know it's been beat into oblivion 1,000 times. Purdue's biggest issue is their lack of defense, and but I do agree with you with the idea that it's kind of, I don't want to say it's make it or break it for Matt Painter at Purdue because look, it's Purdue basketball, and like I mean, I'm not saying that Purdue doesn't have a good history, but like enjoy your time with Matt Painter because he's done incredible things with that program. But if he's not going to win it this year, he's not ever going to win it.
St. Peter's that they're done. Obviously, this is it. They're a Sweet 16 kind of team. They're not like VCU who has the talent or a Loyola Chicago who can make a run to the Final Four. But what they did to Kentucky was just I was reminded of why I love March so much. I mean, like the numbers are. If you look at a picture of their gym compared to Kentucky's, it's hilarious. But that's every year at March. And dude, their roster is tiny.
The best part about that, the best part about that game for me is, since JJ has moved to Dallas and. Our friend Blake has moved to Jacksonville and so on and so forth, all the things, I just get to sit down and watch the tournament with a bunch of casuals. And I was sitting at Topgolf cheering for St. Peter's and everybody's like, what? Why? No, I've got Kentucky in the Final Four. Why are you cheering for St. Peter's? Kentucky is your champion. And it's like fucking casuals, man.
Dude, that's
you're not getting a perfect bracket, my guy. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
That's work. Go to work, any corporate office. Ow! How was your bracket? Oh my goodness! I got busted. That old St. John's.
We're watching the end of the Tennessee and the Michigan game somewhere, and there's two older gentleman and I don't know if it was a girlfriend or wife or what, but they're like talking trash like to each other. And I was like, okay, we got some money on this game. And they're like, oh, no, this is just for bragging rights on the bracket. I'm like, buddy, I got 200 on the over here.
You can't say that.
What are we doing?
You get caught watching the game at work, too. And it's like, who's playing? And you have to, like, control yourself and then nonchalantly say, oh, it's just some NIT game. But really, you're sitting there on pins and needles. We live a different life. I hope you know that. It's not normal.
No.
Especially you, JJ. You're like on a different level than I am, but it's not normal.
It's gone to the point now where I just don't get like people that don't like submerge themselves into this. Like Blake was telling me, our friend Blake, he lives with a friend in Jacksonville, and he said Thursday morning or Friday morning, they like woke up and he was like, "Hey, Blake, like want to go kayaking?" And Blake was like, no. Like, do you know what to like? Are you what's the disconnect here? Like.
It's similar,
what today is, right?
It's similar to people who go to fucking It's similar to people who go to fucking pumpkin patches on a college football Saturday. Like, let's just be honest.
It really is. But like, this is a precedent that I feel like Justin, JJ, myself, Will, you're going to get there one day, buddy. We're going to find you a woman. But like, this is something that like is very important within the first month to lay the groundworks. Like, yes, baby, I will go to a pumpkin patch with you today, but just for future reference, I'm never going to do this again. Right, exactly. And then slowly but surely, like, they understand who you are as a person, and that person is not going to sacrifice a special event such as a college football Saturday, March Madness, the conference tournament, Korean baseball. Like, there's certain sacrifices I have to make, and they're the real superheroes. I feel like. I think we all got lucky. A lot of relationships end because of shit like this, and I got to say that we're all incredibly lucky.
Especially Korean baseball. That's the big one. We can't forget about it.
Dude, I didn't even like golf until a couple years ago. Now I can't like do anything during the Masters. It's honestly like my life has changed completely because of this. And you know what? I also want to say shout out to I want to give one last shout out to our sponsor, since they're our only sponsor, our presenting sponsor, the Graham Company. I think this is a discussion we can have. I don't think I would enjoy watching a game that I wagered on a Delta 8, but I'd like to hear your take. Delta 8 gummy.
Take a Delta 8 gummy, and you'll be as high as I am here in the Beers on Heads blimp above San Francisco.
I think gambling's more of a beer thing, but what you do is you take the Delta 8s after.
Calm down.
And you watch a documentary or
something. Bring the adrenaline down.
Yes, but they also have coffee, which I'm very excited to try. I as you guys know, in Arizona, we don't have to get into the whole thing. I get anxious sometimes.
Yeah, that's a slight understatement.
Yeah, the Delta 8 combined with the coffee, we're gonna have to see what that does to me. But our good friend Ozzy says that it's better than any Klonopin he's ever had. So, I mean, if you want to try it, go follow them on Twitter at the Graham Company and use code HOGS25 to get 25% off, which is pretty incredible. I mean, most podcasts I listen to, if they're going to have some code, it's like 10 or 15% off. It's 25% off, not just the first time, it's every time. So if you like it, go back and get it again. It's the same price. So that's pretty cool. Wow. They wanted to get into the Arkansas space, and they said, we heard that you guys might be the perfect people for it. I'm like, well, we don't really do a lot of weed, but we know people that do. You know,
luxury real estate, Delta 8. Hey, we might be able to put something into a contract at E&V, England Volkers here in Bentonville, that gets you some free Delta 8. So just we'll work on all of the things.
If you say the name of my company, we're gonna have to cut the whole podcast.
Engel and Volkers, that's my company.
I know. You kept on going. You almost felt like an Excedra type of deal. Y'all got anything else for
Delta 8 might include such situations such as paranoia.
You know what? Actually,
yada blah 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 blah. Are we supposed to do that? I feel like we're supposed to do that.
No, but that's really honestly good for us to learn about the products that we just got shipped before we take them. On the space earlier today,
we have already taken them though. So. Yes,
on the space earlier today, I said we had a giveaway, so the first 10 people that followed the Graham Company could get. They'd pick somebody to send a sample to. So we'll announce the winner later. But you have to be 21, and our good friend, not going to say his name, but we got a guy on Hog Twitter that we know is 20. He was not eligible, so it's good to go look at the frequently asked questions. Will you fail a drug test? Absolutely. Yes, you will. It is still hemp. So don't be taking this as an alternative to the real deal. It's just a little lighter. And as Ozzy says, it throws your worries away. Once again, I will ask, anybody have anything for the good of the podcast? I know everybody wants to talk about Arkansas baseball, but
it's not time yet.
We have so many guests that we will line up for Arkansas baseball, and that's kind of what we lived on last year. That's going to be an exciting time. Yeah, I'm really excited to dive into it. I like what I've seen from the program, but we're gonna wait until we can really put our full concentration. This is March, so
I would just like to. I would just like to give a shout out to my producers for. It's hard up here in the Beers on Heads blimp to get the lighting correctly. I would like to thank them for finally in the last 45 seconds to 2 minutes of the pod for getting my lighting correctly. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, it's the Delta 8 with the coffee. It's the combination.
Yes, they had a nice cup of coffee from the Graham Company and realized that my lighting was shit and adjusted it, and it was solely thanks to the coffee from the Delta 8 from the Graham Company.
All right,
appreciate you. So listen, guys, we've given you a lot of good content here. Hit that like button, do that thing with the like button, do that thing with the subscribe button, retweet, fucking share with your friends on the Facebooks and the Tinders and the Bumbles and all of the things.
JJ's so pissed off.
Don't.
No, I'm not pissed. I'm just,
don't forget. As much as tempting as that 8.5 is, take the under. We'll see you next time on the Beers on Heads. Go Hogs.
electric.